that what you plan for?
I planned for that, but I think for that age group hitting like towards the end, I could see that they were like starting to walk around more and starting to get up, and it was like towards the end, so that's when I was like, okay, we gotta stop here. And I think adding another piece would be having them look around the classroom or even walk around the classroom for the different materials and be like, I found a paper or I see metal in this.
Yeah.
So that, like you said, you're looking and touching the real items.
Yeah. With the vocabulary, what are some of the strategies that you use specifically to pull that vocabulary out?
Repeating the words after I said them, just reiterating what the word means, recycle and reuse, and having them give examples of things that they reuse or recycle.
Were there some vocabulary words you saw that the students were struggling with more than others?
I think the longer words like electronics is a little difficult for them to just say. And then compost is one that they're not necessarily familiar.
I saw that one.
So they were a little confused on what compost means. And so when we talked about eggshells, that was just one specific, like, we don't really eat that, so you said if we eat it, then it should kind of be a compost, but we don't eat the eggshell. So I think it's just making it just a little more age appropriate for them because it's the new term for them.
Okay. Is there anything that you think of that you could add to that activity or lesson for those words that they were struggling with a little bit more?
I think. Well, we always go back to a lot of pictures and a lot of repetition, a lot of them using it in context so that they are understanding how to use the word. Maybe showing videos on what compost is to kind of go more in depth into it.
Might be a good follow-up for those. I was thinking even just it's like writing them on the board or something at the time. You had the little cutouts, but I don't know how well all of the students were able to actually see the word. They heard it a lot, and I really appreciated that during that when you're having them all speaking, you noticed that a couple of the students weren't saying the word, and you asked them to say it to make sure that you heard them say it. So the vocabulary piece there was really good, but making that connection between the audible of the word and the visual of the words. I don't know, maybe there might be something that could be done as far as like a word wall or writing it on the board or something along those lines so that they could hear and see it a little bit more and make that connection a little bit better.
Yeah, like a poster with a bigger picture and then the word, and then just have it displayed either like on the focus wall or learning objective wall that they can see it throughout the week or however long.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I noticed, the other thing I noticed too, and you talked about this slightly, is right about that 30-minute mark. Did you notice the kids starting to get a little bit antsy and
that's where I was like, okay, you guys, I'm gonna give you 3 minutes to finish this part of it and give you 5 minutes to finish this part of it, because they started to get up more and they were like walking around, and so.
Yeah, I saw you catch that. You did a good job catching it and kind of like making a shift and kind of going in and transitioning there. So, all in all, your thoughts overall. What would you do differently or the same?
I think overall it went well. I think they respond very well to that just positive reinforcement and praise. So it's keeping the behavior management, classroom management there so that they're staying on track and it's not being diverted to behavior. And I think they were engaged, and then once they started to, then it was like, okay, I have to recognize that they're starting to shift, and so it's gonna be time to move on.
Yeah, and I heard you said classroom management piece, and that reminded me, I heard you, and I made note too, I heard you use at least 4 different attention-getting strategies. And the kids knew all of them, so it tells me that they were trained in all of those. And so I really appreciated that you had a multiple variety of strategies they were using to make sure that they were responding appropriately. I thought that was really effective, so that was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say all in all, I thought that it was a really good lesson. The biggest feedback that I would provide would be that length, as far as like an hour-long lesson for kindergarten.
Yeah.
I think is a bit long. Maybe break it up into smaller chunks, and then maybe use a little bit more visuals to be able to support that audible vocabulary word with a visual component to make those connections a little bit stronger. I know that wasn't your class. I had the benefit of sitting next to Henna. You had a monolingual Spanish speaker in there. Were you aware?
Yes.
Okay. So I know that you were worried about your EL students. What could you have done potentially, or did you feel like you addressed that adequately?
Well, I sat with him when he was doing the cutting and sorting, and talked to him in Spanish, and so that
Cool.
he did understand. But during the lesson itself, I could have just checked in with him a little bit more and just repeated more privately with him directions in Spanish that he was following along.
Yeah.
Throughout the lesson.
Okay. Do you, I don't know the students as well as you do. Were there any pretty strong bilingual students that were English and Spanish?
Yeah, there's a few in there.
Okay. Maybe another suggestion might be putting one of those students next to him so they can kind of buddy up, and the other student can kind of help tell that student what was going on, or clarify if there's anything.
Yeah, I
be-
noticed the one sitting next to him was kind of helping him when they were doing the sorting
I saw that too.
part of it.
Yeah. But yeah, all in all, I did catch you like making sure that you were following up with him, knowing that I would assume that that's what you were doing. So,
Yeah.
cool. That was good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else. I heard you come up and develop some pretty good strategies for follow-up. What are your next steps after this lesson?
I think, like I said, just go more in depth with the topic and making sure that I'm catching the students who are like the ELs and just need a little more support in that, and following up with more on compost and the vocabulary that they're lacking.
Cool. Is there anything from me that that would help with that, or that that I could do to help support you?
No, I think the suggestions you provided kind of lit a light bulb, like, oh yeah, that is something that could better the lesson.
Cool. Well, good job.
Thank you.
Hope you feel good about it.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.